Okay, so everybody's going around with these mistranslations of the earth. You know, I'm. It's got to the point now where, to the stage now, I really am not certain whether they really have a conspiracy, all for the money, all for the dollars, or if they are actually genuinely concerned that there is something wrong, but they just don't really know what it is, and they're trying different methods, and that is their way. That is their way which they refer to as science. Well, it's not science to me. It's not knowledge to me. Okay, knowledge is knowing the answer. It's not by testing and experimenting or re-experimenting on people to see, because the people suffer in that regard. If you're going to test, right, if you're going to put something to the test, there has to be, right, there has to be safety. There has to be a safety there. For example, take the animals, for example. If I say that they have to be given food from the ingredients of food, all right, but there is a certain one that they have to be given, okay, you can basically say that, okay, you got to start testing some ingredients out, and that most, if not all, ingredients are going to be safe for them to eat because they're all food. And any intelligent person wouldn't give them something that they wouldn't eat. That has to be always, hence there always has to be that rule, the boundary there, the safety there, that nothing's going to go, that nothing is going to go wrong, that something is always going to go right, and that the answer is going to come at the end. That there has to be, that promise has to be there, that there has to be that answer that's going to come. Okay, well now, the promise isn't there, all right? And people are running these experiments on animals in these laboratories, and they're amputating, limbs from here and there to try to find an answer to, how to do it on a person. And it's not the way to go about things. It seriously is not the way to go about things. And, there are already books that have a lot of things, should have that knowledge there anyway. For example, electricity. It was already there before any of these Edison guys and Tesla guys came here. The electricity books are there from how many years ago in the Hindu scriptures. It all explains everything. And other people that already knew this thing beforehand. So rather than somebody getting the medal or the attribute that it came from them, if you do your study, you find out it didn't come from them at all. Those things have always been around. The books have always been there. But their names have been attributed to them. Which is, it's annoying and very frustrating. It is. It's very, very frustrating. Anyway, there's a safe way to go about things, all right? I'm not condemning anybody. There are mistakes that are being made, and most of the time, the evil, it can't see the mistake it's making. That's why I can't physically go there and penalise someone, or shoot someone, or I can't do it because I know the answer to how I can save them. If I can save them, that will save me. That will save them from having to save me from having to look after the next person that shall come in their place. If you can save one adult, just one adult, all right, you ensure that there's that's another adult there to look after another child. If you kill the adult, if you murder an adult, there's one less adult to take care of the children. But if you can forgive that adult, and you can save the person from the evil that they're suffering from, as I was saying before about the injuries from the brain, people going the wrong way from hearing the wrong thing. If you can adequate that in them and save them you have another adult around to look after the children. You know, now the percentage of children to adults is very much, there's more children than adults. All right? So that means that the adults are dying in the war. You know, everybody talks about all these children, these children are dying in the war, children dying. Think about the adults. If the adults die, there's not going to be any there to look after the children. It's the adults. That's the worst thing. The adults dying. You can have another child, but you can't have another adult. You have to begin all over again. Okay? So it's the adults, okay? And don't bring children into it anyway. Okay? It's the adults. If you end the life of an adult, that's one less adult to take care of the children. Okay? And if they're all dying in a war, there are going to be all these children left over, all these orphans left over, in all these buildings and everything. There's so many these days. It's ridiculous. What am I going to do? You know? What's everybody going to do? Well, if you got the care, you'll know what to do. I know what to do. And again, it's with coming up these answers coming along the way. You know? The question comes the answer. The question comes the answer. You know, it's the progression. Okay? I've got the answers to how I'm going to get there. All right? They've always been there. It comes along with, you know, how do I get better? You know, the answer is there. Well, you got to keep, you know, going at the goal, you know. Oh, but it's going too slow. You got to just take it easy. It's going to come when this comes. And, you know, you move forward one step and you continue moving. Now, the momentum has to go to the good era because the knowledge is here of the good era now. It wasn't spoken before by anybody. Nobody is speaking about the transition, about the time frame, because they're all under the indoctrination that it came from nowhere and that it goes either forever and ever and ever for infinity and there's no ending to it, or there's a beginning and then it gets destroyed in the end and then there's nothing and then nobody knows what's going on after that. And that is what everybody's under the impression of today. That's why you won't find a person the same as me around. You can't get me going on these Big Bang theories. And by the same token, you can't get me going on these good fucking theories. You can't get me on any of that. Why? Because I know the truth, and rather than getting caught up in these arguments. Okay? I'm solid. Rock fucking solid. I'm fucking serious. Okay? I know exactly what I'm talking about. Okay? I'm not in any of these categories. So you watch out for me. Seriously. Look out for me, you know, on these videos. Look out to be hearing from me in the future on other areas. Know that I'm coming, all right? I'm coming with the truth. And by the time I'm finished, everybody's going to know what I know, okay? And there's going to be no more nonsense. There's going to be none of this nonsense out there. None of this Big Bang Theory, you know, going on forever and ever in infinity and the universe is infinity. No. There's a time frame. There's finiteness, finite. Everything's finite. It has a time frame. It's going somewhere. It came from somewhere. Think about it. Without a clock, without a time, there's nothing. You're going to make a mistake. There's going to be an accident because you have no picture there of what is. And all these people in religion mistranslating the word God as a person, being all begging. You know, you wonder why there's poor people out there. When those, you know, it's encouraging people to beg, always being begging and sucking up to this person that's meant to be somewhere in heaven, sitting on a great big throne. How arrogant is that? That this person's sitting there and he's decreeing all these things, good and bad, and you know, he's meant to be the creator, and somehow it's a big test and it's all right and it sort of works out. And no, there's no person sitting up there on a big throne being that way to people that came from them. It's not true. It's a lie. It's wrong. It's untrue. It's a misconception. Okay? It's wrong. So again, you're not going to get me on either one of those sides, all right? So you think about how many people out there on the earth that are the same as me right now. Now, if you listen to me right now, you might be one of them, but you know what I mean. There is not one. I'll be the only one. You think about that. You think about that and who I am in regards to that. I'm serious. I'm serious. I'm dead set. Fucking serious. I come from nothing. Alright? And I'm putting this together. And I had to know this to keep on going. Because there was a time, there was a period where I had nothing. I needed something to survive. And I've got these answers. And I'm coming. I'm coming with them. I seriously am coming with them. And again, but when I finish, everything's going to be fixed. The books are going to be there. The proper religion responsibility is going to be there. That regularity is going to be there. Okay? And that's not the only thing I'm working on. Alright? I've got exercises I'm working on now. Alright? Like for other areas of the body. Talking about muscles and your bones. You know, and your jogging. You know, people refer to it as cardio. I go so far as to say it's not cardio. And that jogging, you know, the motion training it's for more for breathing. If you've come back and, you know, when you're going for a jog or something, you're breathing. You have to, that's the thing that stays on the level, the most breathing, all right? And your pores open up, you know, and you feel fresh. And if you have a shower afterwards, you notice you're so hydrated, you feel fresh and your body's breathing and that. Whereas the cardio is more for the resistance training, the weights, you know, because when you lift the weights, that's where your veins pop out, isn't it? And that's for that. And it's about when you lift, you try to keep your heart rate up between each exercise, because when it goes down, you get tired, you have to go to the next one that comes up again. And then, you know, you switch exercise, it goes down, and you go up again, and it comes. So that's a cardio. That's for your heart, okay. And then you got, you know, there's the fighting for the bones, you know, to make your tendons and your bones strong. No, there's fighting exercises, but not against people, because that is infighting. Okay, everybody's going around, oh, have you seen this guy? He's a good fighter, this and that. No, they're not fighting. They're infighting. You're not meant to punch a person in the face, all right? You're not meant to injure anybody and fracture their bones, okay? That is infighting. That is violence, okay? That is wrong, okay? So there's, you know, fighting exercises for you, all right? Think about you. Make a circle, practice some punching and kicking. Strengthen, you'll notice it strengthens those areas, those tendons, they become very, very strong. You know, and there's other exercises. So yeah, I'm putting some together. I've been off for a few years now. I'm still every day doing a lot, you know. I'm walking. I've been a lot on the animals at the moment. I walk probably around 4 or 5 hours every night, all right? And, you know, a lot of the time I jog. So, you know, I've got 1 or 2 hours of jogging. So, you know, I've been off for the other exercises a lot now because I've been lacking in some area. I've been fighting some devil that I have to overcome. And that when I overcome that evil, then that which is suppressing me onto moving on to that next level, I should be able to finish off what I've started, okay? Anyway, so yeah, I've got more things going on than just the religious area, okay? There's the work area, which I mentioned, you know, in my post and that. There's the work area. There's heaven. I mentioned heaven. There's certain things that work, or else it doesn't work. You know, people say they're working these days, or because they're receiving the salary, or because they're receiving the wages at the end of the day. They could be doing anything. They could be committed to anything. But because they're receiving the cash, they say to them, they say it's working. And they ask me, what do I do for work? What do I do for work? You know what the basis and they're asking for. What am I doing for the dollars? They want to know, as if they ever want to know, where I'm getting my dollars from, where I'm getting my cash or money from. That is their question. That's a very fucking rude question, because it's none of their business where I get my cash from. Alright? None of anybody's business. Alright? Of anybody, where anybody gets theirs from. That's private. Alright? I got what I got to use it, and it comes from somewhere, and that's all I got. Alright? And work, when someone asks me that question, I have to explain what is work to them and what I'm doing. And because they're under the impression, oh, that's just my hobby, that I have to be on these books fucking receiving a salary or a wage. And if I'm not, to them, I'm unemployed. To them, I'm not working. But I tell you, I'm very much employed and I'm very much working. It's that they don't understand. And then I begin to explain that, not all things are working these days, because if they were, the earth, it wouldn't be so messed up, would it? It wouldn't be so fucked up. It wouldn't be so instated. It wouldn't be so incorrected. It wouldn't be such a disaster zone. Okay, so I say to them, that most things are not working these days. You got people, going and putting the stylish hair and going, not to be rude, but 4 years for something that, you want to walk around with all these fanciless hairstyles and no. And you got all these logos and people walking around with a logo on the, what is that? Why is it that you need a logo? You don't need a logo on a shirt. Just wear the clothes. Why can't you just wear the clothes without all that? And you go to the shop and there's all these logos, this brand and that brand, and if you saw this brand and no, there's a practicality to it. Every shoe, you look at shoes, they're all on a downward angle. They all go on a slope. They all go probably 20 or 30 degrees. They got a degree, they go downwards. You know how much of a danger it is to rolling your ankle, to injuring? There's a very much danger. You'll very rarely, I'll put a picture on here of one brand of shoe that is a good quality that is straight horizontal. Alright? It's not on an angle, it is straight horizontal. A good pair of jogging shoes, a good pair of, that has a nice foam in it, it's soft and, it can get you around without, having a hard bottom. So, there's another thing, there's all these mistakes out there. You got people putting up all these cables for electricity and the animals walk across them and they get electrocuted. Look at all these cables up, you got to, pull out a cable to go plug something in. I mean, infrared's been out for years and years and years, and yet no one's got it together. Here I am, becoming an adult. Why isn't anything ready? What's going on? Somebody's been lazy here, and they're saying, I'm not working because I've been on welfare my whole entire life. I know, I have been working, and they haven't, and there's not anything out there for me to go to anyway. And that's why I know that I'm working and they're not, because they're being a nuisance out there, putting up all their nonsense all around here. Well, I know that. I'm not going to do that if I know that. I'm not going to be that way. So what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to just work on overcoming it. That's all I can do. All I can do is work on overcoming that and finding an answer and, progressing along the way, and that's working. I'm benefiting everybody better. Not being out there, being a nuisance, putting up all this nonsense everywhere, going to a military, being a, going places with guns and threatening people and being what they refer to as a politician and threatening people to do this and do that. No, you don't live your life by threatening people. You won't get any results, okay? And these doctors, these pharmacists putting all these drugs out there for things they can't even see. A person has a fracture. They can see that fracture. They know it's a fracture. They can fix it. All these other things, they can't see it. They can't fix it. They're saying, oh, this person has that, and they're this, and they're that. All this name calling or whatever it is, teasing or whatever. It's the same as if it's continued on from the school and it's got more, it's got more over the years to this big fucking level where they've got a whole big company out and they're saying, oh, this person's a this and this person's a that, and fucking they're going to give him fucking this drug and that drug because they're all fucked up in the head. And it's wrong, So you got there, you got all their drugs and they're saying what aren't drugs are drugs, and they're being permitted to promote all their nonsense out there. So you got all these people out there walking around on all these pills.